Yes, it's time for another album ranking. Today we are ranking none other than the brutal death metal band slash black and death grind slash deathcore, metalcore, and even I don't know, man. I mean, let's just call Aborted extreme metal because their discography is something very different. So Aborted are from Belgium and they formed in 1995. They released their debut album, The Purity of Perversion, in 1999. And they were more of a brutal death metal band back then, but they definitely did experimented throughout their sound, especially albums like the Archaic Abattoir or Slaughter and Apparatus, and even Strychnine .213, which moved towards more of the core side of metal, incorporating elements of metalcore, deathcore, and even melodic death metal. So Aborted have really experimented throughout their discography. Their later albums, they moved on towards that death grind, but overall Aborted is a good band and I thoroughly enjoyed most of their albums. And today I'm going to give you an album ranking. Now this is all thanks to one of my subscribers who requested this band for me to rank. All you have to do is just comment below what bands you want me to rank and I will go through all their discography. And you know what, this was my first ever subscriber request to rank a particular band, so I honored that request. And I don't know who, I can't remember who it was. Thank you so much for the request. I thoroughly enjoyed Aborted discography. Let's get on with the ranking. So there are 9 albums to rank and we're going from the weakest to the best. Coming at number 9 is Strychnine .213. This album isn't a very good album in my opinion. It is their weakest Aborted album. It just doesn't sound like Aborted at all. The production's not very good. The production is absolute shit. This album can get in the fucking bin, it really can. I do not like any of these songs. They're just repetitive riffs. Where are the technical elements? Where are the technical elements on Strychnine .213? This is a cash grab by Aborted. It really is. After successful albums before Strychnine .213, they decided to produce this shit. Holy shit, this album isn't very good at all. I suppose the best song off the album is probably Avarice of Vilification, especially the really technical guitar riffs on that song. But the rest of this album is just pure guttural shit. It really is. I just don't like it. Sven's vocals are just one note in my opinion, very monotone. Sven's vocals are fantastic, especially on most of the Aborted albums, but this is just this isn't very good at all. I just don't like this album. I listened to this album a few times as I was listening to Aborted, and yeah, this album is a pile of shit. I do not like Strychnine .213. It's just because it doesn't sound like Aborted. They incorporate more of that melodic flair, but they do incorporate a lot of core elements like deathcore and even metalcore. More metalcore vocals on this. It's a bit like Archaic Abattoir and Slaughter and Apparatus, where they incorporate more of that core element within the music. Not very good songwriting on this album. And this album's very boring, it really is. So Strychnine .213 is one of the worst metal albums I've heard in my whole entire life. It can get in the fucking bin. Next up is the Archaic Abattoir, and this is a lot better album. I love the technical guitar riffs and just the elements of surprises. What I really do enjoy, it sounds very different to a lot of Aborted albums. Not like Strychnine, where you had some elements of sort of hard rock, where you had some elements of death and roll, deathcore, and even metalcore elements, along with just interesting guitar solos. It was just a boring album overall, but the Archaic Abattoir has just so many interesting songs like Blood Fixing the Bled, Hecatomb, The Gangerous Epitaph, Cold Logistic Slaughter, Voracious Hemoglobinic Syndrome, along with Descend to Extirpation. That's fun. The songwriting's solid. Sven's vocals are fantastic on this. Guttural, high, demonic at times. I love his high vocals. At times it does remind me of something like a cattle decapitation. The vocals at times do sound a bit metalcore and deathcore, you could say, but I love his guttural vocals, and I just really love the technical elements on this. It's quite proggy as well, but it stays true to that Aborted sound. Unlike Strychnine, I just shit on this album. But yeah, Archaic Abattoir is over a really good album. It's got some great songwriting, great lyrics, but what the problem is, the guitar is showcased on this album, but there's very less of the guitar. Like I'm talking about the solos are incredibly fucking quick, and that's one pet hate on Archaic Abattoir. Next up is Slaughter and Apparatus Methodical Overture. This album is a fantastic album overall, thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's just a brilliant piece of work. The Spang Seance, got songs like The Foul Nucleus of Resurrection, Prolific Murder of Contrivance, Underneath Virulent Soil. I love all the song titles on this. They incorporate more of that melodic death metal flair. This is a game changer for Aborted, you could say, because they have changed the sound on this album. Again, it's quite a brutal album. I feel like it's more brutal than Archaic Abattoir. But yeah, Slaughter and Apparatus incorporate more melodic flair on this. It's quite catchy, it's quite infectious in tone, especially the guitar riffs, and his vocals are very good on this. Again, they go through a few line changes on this. Slaughter and Apparatus is a good album, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But of course, we move on to the albums that I fucking love, and first and foremost is none other than the debut album, The Purity of Perversion. This was released in 1999, and holy shit, this album's fantastic, it really is. This is a good slab of brutal death metal, you could say. And yeah, the vocals are absolutely so guttural and intense, less high shrieks on this album. But yeah, this is the original lineup. Sven's vocals, absolutely fucking fantastic. Got Frank on drums, Christoph on guitars, Cohen on bass. The bass is quite rhythmic and full with flavor, unlike the album Strychnine, where the bass was less prominent. The production, on the other hand, is okay. It does sound at times like the old Cannibal Corpse albums. Production's not fantastic, but you got songs like Act of Supremacy, The Sanctification of Fornication, Organic Puzzle, Highway 135, Gurgling Rotting Feces, and Wrenchy Carnal Ornaments. Just a great fucking album overall. Just really do enjoy it. But yeah, this is a good slab of brutal death metal. Next up is their latest album, which was released in 2018, Terrorvision. This is a really good album overall. I do really enjoy it. It's a really heavy sort of album, very brutal in tone. Incorporate more elements of grindcore on there. At times there are some black metal elements, especially the intense blast beats, the guitar tremolo pickings. Great songs like Vespertine Decay, Squalor Opera, Deep Red, Exquisite Covenous Drama, Ultra Inferno, and The Final Absolution. Although there are some moments where none of this album is that memorable in my opinion. That's why it's a little bit lower than the other albums, but overall, Terrorvision is a good album, but it's not their best. Next up is the Necrotic Manifesto. This album's absolutely fantastic, and I just love the artwork. Aborted artwork is so damn good. The album cover's amazing. The Enumeration Cadavers is fantastic. The Davidian Deceit, Satan Libertine Lunacy, Excremental Veracity, Of Dead Skin and Decay, Chino Bites, and even go on. The Necrotic Manifesto is just really good, very technical. Guitar's fantastic. The drums are absolutely fantastic, and Sven's vocals are on another level on this. Brutal, hard-hitting, death and grindcore album, so damn good. Next up is one of my favorite albums by Aborted. We're talking about Retrogore, which was released in 2016. This is a lot better than Terrorvision, a lot better than the Necrotic Manifesto. This is an incredibly technical sort of album. It is so damn brutal in tone, amazing death grind elements. It's a more atmospheric album, you could say, and I fucking love the album cover. The artwork on this is so damn good. You have this really hideous individual revealing a mirror to let you know what your face actually looks like. It's absolutely such a haunting album cover, and it just feels like you're in a torturous chamber at times listening to Retrogore. This is one of the best Aborted albums. Songs like Retrogore, Cadarius Banquet, Termination Redux, Divine Impediment, Inadvertence as well, Bit by Bit. It's a much different sound by Aborted as well, but holy shit, it is a lot better than the other albums I have mentioned. This is one of their best albums in my opinion. Just so many incredible moments, the guitar solos, there is some dialogue which really makes this haunting atmospheric tone of this album. This is one of the most haunting Aborted albums. Next up is an album that was, I believe, after Strychnine 2.213. They definitely got a lot of flack from that album, and holy shit, they produced a fantastic fucking album. A step forward where it does sound like bands like Goremageddon and Engineering the Dead. We're talking about Global Flatline. This was released in 2012. It was a step forward for Aborted with their sound. Some great fucking songs like Fecal Forgery, their guitar work, Vermicular Obscene Obese, From a Tepid Whiff, Our Father Who Art of Feces, Grime, End Still. I love End Still. That is such an epic song to end off an album. About 6 minutes this song. It's so damn good. It really is. This is one of the best comeback albums by any other band in my opinion. One of the best comeback albums. From such a shit album like Strychnine, they come back with an album like this. Holy fucking shit. What a return. And his vocals are just incredibly demonic on this. He uses this different tone. Of course, he incorporates more of that cleaner metalcore singing on this, but in my opinion, it's just a great album by Aborted, one of their best. Next up is two albums that I really toss and turn. Next up is Goremageddon, The Sword and the Carnage, Done. This album is so damn good, it really is. This is just a brutal death metal album. There's just so many surprises along the way. The production's so damn good. The vocals are incredibly demonic and guttural. Just the intense guitar work and the drums just lift this album next stratosphere. Parasitic Flesh Resection, Ornaments of Derision, the drumming on that song, the guitar work, Medical Deviance, Sea of Cartilage, and Nemesis to end off the album. This is just a fucking hard-hitting, brutal death metal album. It is just incredibly intense. Their third studio album, I believe. Holy shit, it is one of their best. And finally, my favorite Aborted album, and the album I checked out first, and I just feel that none other Aborted album can beat this album, and an album that I play the most, it is Engineering the Dead. And holy shit, this album's so damn good. Songs like Nailed Through Her Cunt, To Roast and Grind, Erectations of Carnal Artistry, Sphinctral Enthrallment, Scalfa Crescendo, and Exhuming the Infested. Just the lyrics are so damn good on this. I just love the beautiful guitar work, the drumming on this, the brutality. This is such a brutal album by Aborted, and in my opinion, it's just a step forward. The production is a step forward as well, better than their debut album. This was their second album, which was released in 2001, and holy shit, this album is a masterpiece by Aborted, and Engineering the Dead is my #1 album for Aborted. So guys, that's it for the Aborted album ranking. I hope you did enjoy it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this album ranking. Do you agree or disagree in my opinion? Let me see you rank below your albums. Oh, the tickle in my throat is killing me. So keep the discussion going in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next one.